Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of MTE's Mobile Education powered by the Rag Company. Today we have Jody Sedrick talking about the number one thing you need to change in your business. Before we get started though, I want to take a moment to thank the Rag Company for their generous contributions and making this all possible. Once again, thank you, Rag Company. Couldn't do this without you. So, as I mentioned, I'm going to bring in Jody here, talking about the number one thing you need to change in your business. So, Jody, thanks for being with us today. I'm going to bring in your screen. Oh, I should unmute you. Yeah. All right. Can you hear me,
All
Jody?
right. Yeah, well, thank you, Sheldon. I appreciate you organizing this, and have to give a mad shout out to the Rag Company. They're a phenomenal company, a phenomenal team, and just super proud to be a part of anything that they're associated with, and especially Mobile Tech Expo. I think I've been involved with Mobile Tech Expo since 2007.
At least, yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. So we appreciate what you do, Sheldon, Susan Schwartz, everybody in the background that makes these events possible. So I'm super excited for those of you who are attending. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And man, I hope that you get something out of it. I've thought about what I'm going to share with you long and hard. And so I want to ask you, what is the number one thing you need to change in your business? I think sometimes when we're looking at our business, it feels like a roller coaster. It feels like you're riding a class 4 rapid. You're doing everything you can to hang on to that business, to manage your team, to keep everybody in the boat on the same mission, the same focus, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. So what is the biggest challenge that you're facing? So I'm going to give you a couple seconds. I'd like you in the comments, if you're in front of a computer, I'd like you to put the top 3 things that you're really struggling with in your business. So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to do that. And then I'm going to jump in with some that I've prepared that I think you may be facing. So take a few minutes. Give me the list. All right. So now, some of the things that you may be struggling, and the things that we here at RotaFest a lot, we not only are we providing software to businesses, but often we end up being business consultants for them, helping them streamline their business. And most often we hear things like, man, I'm really struggling with hiring. I'm really struggling keeping guys or gals on board on my team, taking the time to train them and make sure that they're on board with the processes and the way that I want to treat my customers. That can be a real challenge. The other thing, customer management. How are you communicating with your customers? Scheduling, sending them reminders, making sure that you're meeting the expectations of those customers. Are you struggling with invoicing, especially if you're doing dealership services as a company? Sometimes getting those payments in for those accounts receivable can be a real challenge. Are you facing the fact that you need to better market your business, that you need to tell the story of how you serve your customer? Notice that I didn't say what you do. I said, how do you market how you serve your customer? What problem are you solving for your customer? Maybe you're facing dwindling inventory. You go back in the shop and you're expecting some chemicals or a tool and it's not there. So how are you managing that? Is that something that's keeping you up at night? Maybe you're struggling with, how do I pay my guys and how do I track them and make sure that they're paid correctly? There's so many things that can keep you up at night, that can just weigh on your heart, weigh on your soul, that I think a lot of times we end up, just asking the question, where do I start? Because individually and collectively, all of these challenges that you're faced with, sometimes they can really wear you down. You're not sure where to go, where to start first. And so as you're looking at these, I think a lot of times we become so overwhelmed as we're facing these decisions that we become paralyzed into inaction. So let me ask you, what of all of these things, and maybe there's something else, what is your real challenge in your business? What is your real challenge? And before we get into that, I want to introduce you to my daughter. So my daughter has dreamed of playing D1 volleyball since she was 6 years old. And we have invested in training camps and club volleyball, and that has been her dream. Everything has consumed her love, her passion. Everything has been about volleyball. Now, the thing is, she has a particular challenge because as you're walking into UVU, you see this huge 12-foot banner that you see my daughter there. They're going through all of the players, and she's larger than life on this huge billboard. But what is her real challenge? Her real challenge is she's 5'3" in a sport that averages at D1 5'10", 5'11". And that's her best friend, Tori. She's 6'4". So as she has faced this big challenge, often when she was looking at herself and her dream of what she was pursuing, she would often come to me and say, Dad, how am I ever going to make it to D1? You cursed me with short jeans. How am I ever going to get to the big game? I'm like, look, you put in the work, you put in the effort, you put in the dedication, and you pursue that dream. And you do everything you can to make that happen. Now, the thing is, as she played, you'll notice that when that's actually my daughter, on the sidelines of playing for Utah Valley University, which is a D1 college. She got to the big game. And as she got there, she had been so used to be in the number one position, being on the court all the time. Now she is in a position where she's on the bench, right? She's in there rooting for her team. She's cheering them. She's doing everything to become part of that team, a critical part of that team. It's interesting because the very first time I walked into the stadium and I started meeting the other parents, so many parents came up to me and said, oh my gosh, I can't believe your daughter. I can't believe the energy that she brings to the team. She has completely changed the dynamic of the game. In fact, UVU this year, for the first time ever in school history, made it to the NCAA championships. And what was amazing was as we were watching this on ESPN, the ESPN announcer said, and there's Kaylani Sedrick, the juice of the team, as they focused on her on the bench. So my message to you is, no matter what your position is, wherever you are in your business growth, you need to go all in. Sometimes your biggest challenge is you're only going part way. I mean, really, when you look at how you're spending your day, are you getting distracted by social media? Are you getting distracted by things that aren't important? Or are you going all in? And I told my daughter, I'm like, look, this first year, your freshman year, you're most likely going to be on the bench. And she's been entrusted to go on the court as she has proven herself a key player on the team. But also, she has been critical in building a team, building the team from where she currently is called to serve. Sometimes where we currently are is the best position for us to affect the change that we need in our business. So recognize that you need to start from where you are and go all in and consistently be building a team. Now, as the year progressed, they ended up going to the WAC tournament. And hopefully you can see this video. My daughter always plays back row. So she's a defensive specialist. That's her role. That's her position. A lot of times we in our business are put in a position that is our natural gift. It's our natural place to play. It's where we can have the most impact on our business. But sometimes you are entrusted to be put in a different position. And so what happened in this WAC tournament is my daughter got pulled in to serve, and she got up there, served, and then they got pulled out, but they ran out of subs, so she had to be pulled back into the court. Well, when you get pulled back in, she had to go into the middle blocker. So remember, she's 5'3", standing next to a 6'4" gal, and on the opposite, the two players on the opposite side are over 6 feet as well. And so the message I have for you is not only be ready and be good enough that they trust you in those positions, but be ready for big opportunities, even if they scare you. Be ready for big opportunities, even if they scare you. And remember that you have to execute. Sometimes we second guess ourselves and we're in an unfamiliar position and we're not sure how we're going to move. And we recoil instead of moving forward with a positive attitude and a can-do attitude of I'm going to accomplish this no matter what I'm facing. And you need to remember that you have to embrace the process. I told my daughter, I'm like, look, you have to embrace the process of now coming into an elite level of play. And so you're going to have a year or two of where you're learning the system. You're creating those connections, those relationships with your team and your coaches so that you can be entrusted to be put on that field. And you got to remember that timing is not what you expect, but it is exactly what you need. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. I asked my daughter when we got off the court, I asked her, I said, how did it feel? How did it feel? She said, I was scared, but I knew that I had to step up. So how many times are you put in a situation as you're trying to grow your business that you're flat out scared? I remember very distinctly 3 years into our business where we were building, we were clawing, we were fighting, we were doing everything we could to build our business. And I remember distinctly hitting a wall and we were just struggling. How are we going to get through this wall? And I remember having a very sleepless night. And that morning I rolled over on my bed, put myself on my knees, and I just poured my heart out to God. And I said, I don't know what to do. And I was so frustrated. Literally, I just kind of crumpled at the side of my bed. And after I let all of the frustration, all of the anxiety, all of the anger, all of the disappointment out, I told myself, all right, you've got it out of your system. Now let's go to work. Now I didn't have all of the answers, but I knew that I could get to work. And so I picked myself up, drove into the office, and I just started dialing. I started working. So sometimes the best move that you can take is to move, to get active, to get busy, to control what you can control. So don't allow yourself to get trapped into, inactivity because you're afraid. And I love that my daughter said that. She said, I was scared, but I knew I had to step up. Now, what's interesting is after this event happened, I actually went back and I looked at, let me go back to slide. I went back and looked at this, and hopefully you can see this. So if you look at right underneath I've drawn a red line that shows you how high her partner, Tori, jumped versus how high my daughter jumped. So while she was physically smaller, she had the athletic power to jump as high as she physically could, and it was exactly what was needed. So a lot of times we look at our physical limitations, we look at the limitations of our business, like not having enough for marketing, not having enough resources. You're like, man, I need to hire somebody, but I can't find anybody. And a lot of times we look at all of the things that are negative. We look at the challenge instead of looking at how we can adjust to leverage the abilities that are innate within us, and that are innate within our team to move the needle forward as we're growing our business. So remember, just because you maybe are not at the same level as another business, I think a lot of times we do this. We look at where somebody else is in their business, their chapter 12, and we look at our chapter 2 and go, why am I not there? It's because you haven't gone through the process. You haven't become what is needed to get to that point. And it is those years of dedication and of hard work that make it happen. So now, let's go back to the question. What is your biggest challenge? Right? There are a lot of challenges in your business, but what is your true challenge? Your true challenge as a business owner is yourself. Every day I have to wake up, look at myself in the mirror and go, all right, Jody, are you going to do what it takes to move the needle, not only for my company, but also for my team and also for the customers that I serve? And I have to be able to honestly assess what I'm doing every single day. What I'm doing right at this moment, is it moving the needle for my business? So can you face the mirror? Can you honestly look at yourself and say, you know what, I'm doing what is needed to build my business? Now, a lot of times, as I said, we look at our chapter 2 and we're comparing to somebody's chapter 12. You need to start from where you are. Start from where you are. Embrace where you are. If you are in a garage, embrace it. If you're in an office that's not exactly what you want to be, embrace it. In fact, this week I saw that Mark has a brand new shop out of Firehouse Auto Spa. I visited his shop 3 years ago, and it was nice, single bay, had two cars deep. And now he's rolling out a shop that probably will hold 8 cars, maybe 12 cars. But he embraced the process and went through it day by day, self-assessing on what he needed to change in his business. Now, remember, no matter where you are, go all in. Andy is a great example. We had him on our show, Road FS Detail Memoirs, and he's like, look, when I started, it was either I go all in or I go find a different job. And so he had to make the decision that, you know what, I'm going to gamble on myself. In fact, his family gambled on him, and he's built a phenomenal business. And we're going to highlight something from him and his family in a little bit. So number 3, be so good that they can't ignore you. I talk to my partner Rod all the time. I'm like, look, there are a lot of new software companies on the market. They have their game. We have our game. We overlap in some areas, and that's fine. There's plenty of room for all of us to play. Plenty of room for all of us to be successful. But I have to look at myself and I have to say, all right, am I being good enough for the market? Am I being good enough for my customers? And Jamie Gonzalez, the owner of J&G Auto Recon, that guy is phenomenal about being so good that you can't ignore him. Go check out his YouTube. Go check out his Instagram. Not only is he highlighting the work in a way that educates the customers, that inspires them to do business with him, he's also educating fellow detailers. He's sharing the tips and tricks that he's doing to elevate his business. And in the process of wanting to share, he is elevating his game. And he's saying, he has told me, he has said, I'm going to be so good that my market cannot ignore me. I am going to be the go-to guy. And so I'm putting out content that shows that I am that guy. Now, I'm going to grab a quick drink of water, and then we're going to talk about be so good that they trust you. You guys, I'm sure every single one of you knows Detail Boss. These guys are a phenomenal brother team. They're out of Scottsdale, Arizona. And the thing that is so unique about them is they have built a specialized niche business serving really high-end customers. And their customers trust them so much that they ship vehicles to them. Now, just like Detail Boss, Jamie Gonzalez, he has built a trust with he focuses on dealerships. And so he has built a lane of trust. He's built a foundation of trust that they know that he will address any of their vehicle needs. Bumper repair, paint correction. I mean, he does it all. And they know that he is the go-to person. So be so good that your customers trust you with every aspect of their business. Build a team. One of the things that I see a lot of business owners struggle with is they try to carry everything on their shoulders. And I get it, right? It's your baby. It's your passion. It's your love. You have decided to build your business, and you want your team to have that same passion. And sometimes it's really difficult for us to let go. It's difficult for us to entrust our team members to take an aspect of our business and entrust them to take it to the next level. Because often what I found is that there are things that I hold on to that I really need to let go of. I mean, years ago, we made a strategic decision in our business to move some of our roles around in between people, because what I could see was that the person that had a specific role, his natural gifts weren't attuned to that position. And so we made some changes, and yeah, it ruffled a little bit of feathers at first, but over time we could see that it was the right decision. So make sure that you're building a team that captures your vision and show them the vision of where you're trying to take the customer, the company. I don't call my team members employees. I call them team members. They're part of my team. They're my counterparts. I don't try to treat them like employees, like second-class citizens, second-class members of my company. I want them to feel like they are helping me build the business, that they are part of the team. And when you can build that team environment, they will invest their time, their energies in helping you be successful. Because remember, a lot of times we as business owners, we think that we're the boss and that they serve us, that they work for us. But as Gary Vee says, that's wrong. You serve your team. And when you get in the mindset of I serve my team and I'm going to do everything to help them be successful, then your team is going to be caught up in that vision, and they're going to move forward with you, and they're going to help you be successful. Now, the next one, change the dynamic from where you are. I love Jose Vega, Bomb Detail. This is a young up-and-coming detailer. He's investing heavily in himself. And he's like, look, I'm starting from my garage. I'm okay from that. His side hustle is working at the restaurant. His main hustle is building his detail business. And I think a lot of times we get that reverse, right? We go, oh, my side hustle is what's helping me fuel my dream. He's like, no, my side hustle is helping me capture it. Instead of viewing the main focus of my goal to build a detailing or a PDR or an auto recon business, that's my main goal. But a lot of times mentally we're going, it's my side hustle until I can build it to the point that I can move it into a position where it supports my family. He's taking the mindset of, you know what? I'm going to start from where I am. I am building a solid, strong business. And this over here, my side hustle, is helping me do that. The thing that I really appreciate about Jose too is he's like, not only am I going to be a detailer, he's looking for other avenues that he can augment his business. So he's becoming a P&S storefront detailer and selling products in addition to offering detailing services. He's collaborating with other detailers in the market so that they all can elevate each other's business and get each other's back. So remember, Change the dynamic from where you are. Don't wish that you were somewhere else. Change the dynamic from where you are. Don't wish you were somewhere else. Just build it and make it happen. And remember that you need to be ready for big opportunities, even if they scare you. Just like my daughter, when she stepped on that court and stepped to the net and she was in the middle blocker position, facing 6-foot+ ladies, giants compared to her, she said, yes, I was scared, but I stepped up. Just like Bernice Berry, when she started her business, she got an opportunity to do a huge fleet of cars. And rather than say, when they ask the question, can you do it, versus have you done it, she was able to go, you know what, I got that, right? So I think a lot of times these big opportunities come to us and we hear, can you do it, or have you done it? We hear, have you done it? And we go, oh no, yeah, I have all of this expertise, but I haven't tackled that job. Instead of going, you know what, my team can do that. So having the attitude of, you know what, I haven't done it, but I can do that. And my team can do that. And we're going to move the needle forward, because it starts with the mindset, right? The way you change your thinking enables you to take on these bigger challenges, even when you're scared. And that's okay, because if you're scared, that means you're on the right path. When you're scared, it means you're on the right path. So take those leaps. Trust yourself and go, you know what? I may be scared, but I'm good enough. I'm bad enough. My company and my team are enough to make this happen. Embrace the process. This morning, we had Hiram Lopez on our company and on our podcast, RoadFS Detail Memoirs. And I love his story. The thing that impacted me most about his story was he said he's been in the business for 14 years. And it's not been until the last 3 years that he's really exploded in his business, exploded in building a reputation as being the go-to guy, not only within his region, but also nationally as a lowrider detailing specialist. I mean, and you talk about detail on lowriders, that is next level. These guys are putting murals on the bottom of their car and he's ceramic coating them and detailing them. And so, but the thing that struck me was he's like, look, I just had to embrace the process of building my business over time. And when I was able to get in the right circles of fellow detailers, mentors, training, when I was able to bring those into my circle, that was the moment that my business catapulted forward. So embrace the process, but also make sure that you're connecting yourself with the people that have the expertise that will help you move the needle in your business. All right, next one. Let's look at the next big challenge. As I mentioned, timing is not always what you expected. I can tell you, as I've grown my business, there are things that I thought I would achieve long before, but there's also things that happened really fast. So remember to embrace the process, because I think a lot of times, especially when we're in a hurry to build our business, we're taking huge leaps and we're skipping steps. And inevitably, when you skip those foundational steps, you have to return and revisit those and rebuild those in your business. And it is far more painful of a process if you do it coming back to it than if you just do it as you're building your business. So you got to remember, build as you grow. Take it on one step at a time and build as you grow. Now,
what is the one piece of equipment you need to start this business that you want to do? And not knowing any better, I was like, hey, I need an extractor. So he went out and bought me a brand new Mighty extractor, and I had no excuses at that point. So I had the van, I had an extractor. I had already had a polisher, a rotary, from way back when I was 16 years old, when I was working on my own stuff a lot. And so I just went at it, hit the ground running that way. And I had no fail. I could not fail at it because I had my family backing me and pushing me every step of the way. And I really didn't have no other choice.
I love that. Did you hear that? I didn't have any other choice. I could not fail. The thing that is amazing about Andy's story is as he was building his business, as he was talking about it with his wife and his kids gathered their pennies, they gathered their dollars, and they bought him his first mobile van for $1,200. So recognize that there are people behind you. They want you to succeed. Recognize the contributions that they've done to help you get where you are today. I can tell you straight up that I could not have built RotaFest with my team members without the support, the confidence, the trust, the faith of my wife that said, you know what, you go do it. And the wives of my partners, because they entrusted us to go build a dream. So recognize those men and women and those kids that are behind you, cheering you on, and that are praying and working and supporting you as you're building your business. So recognize who's behind you. Remember to be humble. Be humble, but drive to be the best at your game. This last year, I've had the phenomenal opportunity to meet with Jennifer Turcott, Bernice Berry, Jonah Gomez, who runs Detailpreneurs. There are so many men and women, the buffing queen, that are so humble, but they're constantly self-assessing. They're looking at themselves. They're looking at their business, and they're going, all right, what do I need to change in myself to move the needle forward to the direction that I'm trying to go with my business and in supporting my family and my team members? So you need to really strive to elevate your game, to go to that next level. Because what I'm seeing is there are plenty of opportunities for all of us to build our businesses. And as Jeff from the Rag Company says, he says, look, high tide rises all ship. So let's be the tide that moves the needle for everybody in the industry. It's like I was talking to Hiram today, and he's like, you know what? It was interesting. 10 years ago, I would go and I would try to get advice from other detailers, and they would hold information. They would avoid the question. But now, the last 3 years, I've been put into a circle that if I have a question, people help me, and it's elevating my game. And now I'm able to elevate the game of other people, and we're able to cross promote and cross support each other and grow each other's business by being a fan of each other. So be humble and do the best to be humble and be the best at your game while serving others. And invariably you will find success. So let me ask you one question. As you've been listening to this, as you've been listening to the story of my daughter, and you've listened to the story of these other professionals in the automotive detailing and automotive recon industry, what has struck your heart? What is the one thing you need to change in your business? What is the one thing that has been gnawing at your heart, been gnawing at your mind, that is telling you, I need to change this, but you've been reticent to do? You've recoiled from it, when in your heart you need to do that. What is that one thing you need to change? And I'd like to give you a challenge. Take that on, not next week, but take that on tonight. Write it down, make a plan, and go attack that one challenge in yourself that is holding you back from ultimate success. Because what I found is it's those little micro changes that seem so imperceptible, so insignificant. Those are the ones that build on each other, that build to your success. But you have to be willing to look at yourself in the mirror and honestly self-assess and say, you know what? I need to change this before I can move my team. And as you do that, I promise that you will find success. Now, a lot of times I go to seminars like this and you hear a list of things and they often talk about things that have impacted them. So I thought I would share some books that I think would really help your business, and also podcasts. I'm a huge fan of the Secret to Success podcast and Gary Vee podcast. I listen to them religiously every week. They have helped me move the needle in myself, which has rippled into moving the needle for my team. So when you're facing the challenge of yourself, you then can really impact those men, those women, those customers, those team members that you're called to serve. I highly recommend the book, The Dip. It is my number one business book, The Dip, because it talks about when you need to quit, and more importantly, when you need to move forward out of the dip into success. There's Rennie Doyle's book. There's Born Good to Great, going from good to great. My mentor, Sean Hart, Average to Elite. That book is absolutely phenomenal. As a Man Thinketh, because I am becoming more and more aware of the way that I think impacts the outcomes of the goals that I'm achieving. If I believe and I can see it and I can envision it, that's when it becomes a reality for me, as if it's already happened. So as you think is what you will achieve. And then I'm also very proud to announce that I'm releasing my first book. Release date still to come, but yes, Learning to Dance with the Currents of Life When You Feel Like Drowning. And I tell you, there are many times, especially as a business owner, when all you feel like you're doing is drowning and stroking and fighting and clawing for that breath of fresh air. And it's just everything's hitting you and weighing you down. So that's the purpose of that. So, and of course, Rennie Doyle's podcast, our podcast every week. And man, I'm just super excited. If there's anything that Rod or I can do to help you in your business, even if you're not a customer, we love to help people grow their business. So I got a few minutes for questions. I want to thank you for your time. And Sheldon, if there's anybody that has some questions that they'd like me to answer, I'd love to do it.
Thanks, Jody. That was awesome. Learned a lot there. So I guess wait, see if anyone else has any questions. I guess if you had one little piece of advice, I think most people in this industry or any business industry end up with some huge negative that just feels like you said, dragging them down. What if you just had one piece of advice to get past that hurdle? What do you think it would be?
Yeah, the negative, right? I think the biggest negative most people have is their own self-doubt. Right? They doubt and they don't see what other people see in them. If I could see the way people see me, I would probably view myself completely different. And so I think we all need to give ourselves a little bit of grace and recognize that we are doing better than we think we are. And yet there's still room for us to move forward, right? To grow. Because if we're stagnant, we're actually going backwards.
Right.
So crush that little, it's interesting because there's two voices in our head. There's a voice that is crushing your spirits. It's telling you, you can't do this. You're not good enough. And then there's that voice that's telling you, you know what? You can do this. Have a little faith and take that leap and move forward. And yes, you may be scared. Yes, you may be uncertain. And the difference between that voice and the other voice is the voice that is telling you to leap and yes, you are enough. There's always peace in that voice. That voice will always give you peace and tell you you're on the right step. You're on the right course. So walk with confidence, with faith, and move forward in that direction. Even though you don't have all of the answers today, as you move forward, they will unfold to you.
Yeah, that's really great advice. And I mean, be willing to make a mistake and learn from it. I mean, there's so many people that are just so scared to make any mistakes or to have a little downfall. So, like you said, just keep moving. And
I mean, how many times does a baby fall, but he still gets up, right? He's just like, I got to do it. I'm determined to do it. He sees other people doing it. And he's like, why can't I get my little body to work? My legs, why are they stuck? Right? And he does that first little wobble and he steps and he falls, right? We don't go, oh, you suck. Wow, I can't believe you failed. No, we tell him to get up. Say, all right,
exactly.
Come on, try. Come here, you got this, right? And we need to do a better job of going, come on, guys, you got this. I got your back. I got your six. I'll help you grow your business. Yeah, you tripped. I mean, I made a huge mistake yesterday. Huge mistake in our business. And it caused major support problems for my team, right? And dude, I can't tell you how bad I feel about that mistake. But because we built a team environment, everybody said, in fact, I asked the one guy, he's like, yeah, I'm not happy about the circumstance, but we'll get it done. Right. And I think
that's a good team you got.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we look at challenges as, this big monumental obstacle instead of going, you know what, this is an opportunity for us to improve our process. It's an opportunity for us to pull together as a team and solve the problem. So instead of looking at it as a challenge, look at it as an opportunity to move forward as a team.
All right. Well, unless you have any closing statements, I think we're good. And thank you very much for that presentation. Like I said, that was very good and awesome. And can't wait to honestly catch up with you in person.
No, and I'd rather do these in person, right? Because you can ask questions. Because there's so much interaction that you can get when you're seeing somebody. Because you can see them go, you can see them thinking, right? Or you can see them smile, or you can see them nod their head and go, yeah, they understand that challenge of facing the 6'4" giant and they're 5'6" like me. It's like, all right, how am I going to solve this problem? And sometimes, I think a lot of times the challenge, we look at our own limitations instead of looking at our own gifts. And your gift is exactly what is needed for your business. It is exactly what is needed to serve those people in your circle to create the greatest impact on their lives. And in the process, create a relationship that will bind you together, whether that's a team member in a company, a customer relationship, friends, networking partners, whatever. When you work together, man, it's amazing what happens.
Yep, totally agree. So, Jody, thank you again very much. And we will catch up with you in Vegas, right?
Oh, I can't wait, man. I'm counting down the days, looking forward to, and I think we're going to do the number 2 challenge facing your business.
Ooh.
And so I'm looking forward to that and looking forward to shaking hands and meeting people in person. There's just something about that personal connection. And I just want to thank you and the rest of the team for facilitating these. I mean, they have been phenomenal. Mike Phillips, you've had Prentice on, they've just been amazing. So you guys are doing a fantastic job, and thank you for inviting both Rod and I to participate.
Of course. And so you can see Jody's information there. Make sure you blow him up with questions, and I'm sure he'd be very willing to answer everything and help your business take it to the next level. Right, Jody?
Yeah, let's go. Give me a shout. I'm always glad to be a sounding board. So,
all right. Well, we'll catch up with you later. Thanks again.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. That was really great. I hope you had at least 1 or 2 takeaways from that. Next week, we do have another one, of course, at 6 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube and Facebook. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can see what it's going to be. But it is, sorry, I just got it, is Paul Apollonia. And he's going to be talking to us about a very special topic you aren't going to want to miss. Still can't actually release the title right now, but make sure you stay tuned. And also, of course, thanks to our sponsors, the Rag Company, G Technique, Coach Shami, PNS Detail. And also subscribe to Mobile Tech Las Vegas. We are open for registrations. Use code LIVE15 to save 15% on your registration. And maybe I'll even buy you a beer. Put in your little comments that you saw here that Sheldon said he'd buy you a beer, and I will buy you a beer at the bar in Vegas. So again, I'm Sheldon, MTE show manager. I will catch you all next week.